All right. Good morning and welcome, everyone. We're really excited that you're participating in this webinar. I'm Cindy Kaz, Deputy Superintendent for Academic Affairs and Planning, and I'll begin this webinar. Joining me will be Chelsea Hunt, Career Pathway Strategy Lead, and Marissa Lightsey, Program Manager for New Skills for Youth. So let's take a look first at the agenda. So we're going to talk about why ICAP and what and how ICAP can be implemented, the strategies involved, the awareness, exploration, preparation, planning, and action, an overview of 2 free online tools, and what the next steps will be. So as we move forward, we hope that you'll have some idea of why behind the process, and ICAP is a process. Many think that it's a sheet of paper and it's a checklist, but it's certainly more than that, and we hope that when you hear everything we're going to talk about today, you'll have a better understanding of what we mean, and to explore the why, the purpose for this, what it actually is, and how to best implement as we move forward. So we want to thank you for attending today. We think that the ICAP process is a very exciting opportunity for our students, and we look forward to responding to your questions as we move through today. So to begin, ICAP is supported by the J.P. Morgan Chase Grant New Skills for Youth, and the vision for that is to ensure all students have the opportunity and support to successfully secure a post-secondary degree and or industry certification that we hope reflects each individual's passions and skills. And so as we look at this grant has several objectives, but ICAP relates specifically to Objective 4, and that is that we provide multiple pathways for our students so that they can continue after high school with something of value and meaning to them. So as we launched New Skills for Youth Grant January 11th of last year, we had this quote from Superintendent Hoffmeister, and I think it sums up what we believe about ICAP and this grant, that it's going to enable families to engage early with their own students' academic strengths, needs, and aspirations, so that they are prepared for the jobs of the future, and that will equip schools in supporting that work. We know from data that college and career readiness are of particular importance in Oklahoma, where by the year 2025, 3/4 of Oklahoma jobs will require post-secondary credentials. That's a big part of the why we're involved in this process. So, we know, unfortunately, that within our schools, we have a variety of students, and unfortunately, we also have many students without a purpose, students who have not defined the why they are in school. As you look at this, yes, I know it adds up to 101%, but I'm sure they rounded as they were doing these. But the purposeful, those are the kids that are on their way. They know what they're going to do. They have a plan to do it, and they have the support to help them along the way. We want to engage our students. Of course, dreamers are important, and we need people to have dreams. But without a goal and a plan, those dreams won't be realized. And so that's part of the why that we're talking about today. So as we have moved through the first cohort of those that are the pilot this year, Kathy Dunn from Middale Public Schools says it well. When a child has a plan and a goal, it is called hope. And we want to give all students the hope for the future with an ICAP. And then it disappeared. So I think I will need help. But as I continue, students need to be engaged. And part of the engagement is that we're talking about what they're interested in and what they want to do as they move forward. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very nice.
Okay. And the only way that this can have importance to the students is if we're asking them what their interests are and to build on that so that they can recognize what they need to meet their goals. This chart is what I shared earlier, that as you look at this, and by 2025, and those are the students that are currently in 6th grade, so those students are going to need to have much beyond high school degree to be able to realize their dreams and to have a career that is of interest to them and helps them as they move forward in their life. The other part of the why is that we know we have legislation that was passed last year, and we applaud those districts that are piloting this school year to help us along the way to determine what are the best practices for implementing ICAP. There's several ways to do that, and you're going to hear more about that. And for the next school year, we are inviting other school districts to begin the process for themselves so that you can choose what grade level you are starting, to learn about the challenges along the way, what your needs are, because those will vary depending whether you're rural, urban, suburban, large district, small district. And so we want to be able to help and support you along the way. So that's why we're so excited that we have so many of you joining us today to learn more about what the process is. And as you think about it, as you're listening, please consider this question. Write down notes for yourself. Ask this question of those within your district. Why will ICAPs be important to your students? We believe they will, but they're going to be your reasons for your districts and your students. So think about this question as we continue. We recognize that things have changed. In the past, we've considered that students need either academic skills or career industry skills. Well, this is a new day, and students need academic skills and career industry skills, as well as employability skills. We all know what those are. How to work as a team, how to be prepared, how to have some of that functionality of just being a professional. So those are the things that we want to consider as we move forward. So lastly, our vision is college and career readiness, and that is that we help all of our students, be prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary opportunities, whether those happen to be college or career. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you our next speaker, Chelsea Hunt, Career Pathway Strategy Lead.
You just heard the importance of understanding the why of ICAP. Now we want to explore the connection between the why and the what in the ICAP process. What is ICAP? ICAP is an acronym for Individual Career Academic Plan. ICAP is an intentional multi-year process that helps guide students through their exploration of career, academic, and post-secondary opportunities. ICAP's foundation begins with the family and student involvement in the process and support from educators. When students have an ICAP foundation, they begin to develop awareness, knowledge, and skills to create their own meaningful pathways to be career and college ready. Traditionally, we viewed a four-year plan as a product for some or select students with a focus on high school graduation as an endpoint and career development based solely on the counselor's shoulders. The process of ICAP, it reframes, it shifts our mindset. As mentioned earlier, an ICAP is a process that is for all students. Within ICAP, the focus on high school graduation is a checkpoint rather than an endpoint, and career development is a systematic, whole school responsibility rather than on the counselor's shoulders alone. Requirements for the 2018-2019 ICAP pilot group includes choosing at least one site in grades 6 through 12, Identify an ICAP designee and ICAP core team. Choose one of the 3 online tools, OK Career Guide or OK College Start. Commit to provide parent nights in the fall and spring. Commit to responding to various online surveys. And commit to 2 to 3 days of training from OSDE and schedule training as needed for your online tool. Currently, we have 28 districts participating in the ICAP pilot study in 59 school sites. We welcome you to join this pilot study. And this slide, it really just depicts our stakeholders, their roles and the responsibilities. We have 8 stakeholders, which is the student, parent and family, principal, counselor, classroom teacher, special education teacher, career technology center teacher, and business and community. The role of a student is to really participate actively in the ICAP process because this is their development for, of course, the ICAP indeed. Their responsibility is to really engage and complete the ICAP process, but also not only be engaged, take initiative of this process. As a parent and family member, their role is to collaborate with the teachers and counselors and help the students begin to explore, prepare, and plan for career and post-secondary opportunities in the ICAP. The responsibilities of a parent and family member is really just to participate actively with their student, come alongside of them and help guide them as they complete the ICAP. As a principal, the role is to promote successful implementation by demonstrating enthusiasm and commitment to this process. And the responsibility of the principal is really to lead the ICAP process and set those priorities and this commitment, and of course provide that support and encouragement. As a counselor, your role will be to support implementation with student information and resources for teachers and provide that valuable feedback for your ICAP team. And responsibility is to help engage those students and families and teachers in the process and really act as a resource to mentor your students along this process. A classroom teacher role is really to contribute to the successful implementation by providing feedback to the ICAP team and any referrals that need to go to the counselor. Their responsibility is to really, again, encourage students in this area of their interest and help facilitate that conversation between the students and the family. As a special education teacher, the role is to contribute as well to the successful implementation by working together with all school staff. And responsibility of the special education teacher is to, again, engage with school personnel and collaborate to support the ICAPs and the connections that are made throughout this process. The Career Technology Center teacher the role is to contribute to successful implementation by working with district staff. And the responsibility is to collaborate with school districts to support the student career development processes for ICAP and also act as a resource to mentor the students along this journey. Business and community, our final stakeholder, is really their role is to provide resources that support the college and career preparation. And responsibility of business and community is to provide schools and students with opportunities for that career-related experiences, whether that's internships, job shadowing, field trips, teacher externships, and the list continues. Now I would like to introduce you to Marissa Lightsey.
Good morning. So, of course, you just heard about the why and the what, so I'm going to introduce you all to the how, and I think that's why a lot of us are here, is how is this process really going to take place? So, so we'll begin real quickly. So the ICAP process can be implemented in a number of ways, and below what you're seeing is a couple of examples of what some of our pilot sites have already put into place. So some have provided a career exploration unit in an elective class. Some have done have integrated career awareness exploration in content in classes. Some have provided advisory classes as well, and some have actually reached out to employers to provide brown bag lunch sessions where they are able to talk about opportunities opportunities and the skills that are required to then secure these opportunities with their companies. So I think really what I love about this slide is that it does show that there are a number of ways to implement this ICAP. You can do all of them, you can do some of them. It's really up for your interpretation in terms of what works for your particular district. Next, we have our Career Development Continuum. Some of you may have seen this. I know this is very popular, especially amongst our school counselors, but I'll just go through this really quickly. So we think that career development is really separated in 3 different sections here. First is your career awareness. Career awareness is really where we all start. That's where we start to get excited about being a doctor or a forensic specialist. And we may have gotten introduced to this through our favorite television show or just a professional that you know, we're related to, or the list goes on. But what I've found, you know, working with students and particularly those in the university level as well, is that sometimes students go directly from career awareness to career preparation. I've learned that I want to be a doctor, and so now I'm going to go ahead and start enrolling in classes that prepare me to be a doctor. And they didn't do any actual career exploration from within the medical field or any self-exploration about themselves. And that can be dangerous. That can lead to choosing a career path that doesn't actually reflect your interest, causing you to start over, causing you to be dissatisfied with your choices, and the list goes on. And so what we want students to do is to actually go through this continuum process, and the ICAP forces you to do that. We have actual activities that we have available that allow a student to actually go through this process so that they can be sure that their interest is indeed their passion, and that they can start making plans affiliated with those. So, so real quickly, your career awareness really starts from kindergarten or pre-K through really the 5th grade. So that's where you're having your career speakers, web research, you know, from the teacher's perspective, industry tours, field trips, those things as well. Career exploration is really your 6th through the 8th grade. That's your middle school time. So that's where students are really learning about themselves, learning about their interests, and connecting those to the world of work. Very important stage. And then next, of course, is career preparation. That is 9th through 12th. So now I'm taking what I'm learning and now learning about the opportunities to pursue my passions. What programs of study are available? What opportunities are available in this particular career pathway? This is where I would do my work-based learning and the internships and things like that, so that I can be prepared for this work of learning. This is where, of course, we would do our soft skills and those things as well. So each area is very, very important. It's an integral piece of the ICAP. Next, I did want to bring up a really great example. This is from Emporia, Kansas. So what you're seeing is a seminar with teachers as an advisor. So what they've done is they have taken their parent-teacher conferences and sort of kind of jazzed it up a little bit so that it could make sure that students and parents were making career and college readiness a priority. So here are a couple of points here that they have in the program. One is facilitating a career academic plan. So the student will meet with their career advisor or their advisory teacher and discuss a career academic plan. And the student would then, of course, explore their interests and their skills, and then, of course, the teacher would continue to monitor academic process and determine post-secondary readiness. Each individual teacher, or sorry, student explores their available options towards college and career readiness, and the program facilitates planning with students and families. So the advisor model. This is a student-led conference for about 15 minutes where the student in that particular class will call their parent and schedule this planning session for about 15 minutes with their teacher. That student then, of course, taking that responsibility. So we spoke earlier about the role of the student in the ICAP. So this would be an example of the student taking ownership of their plan, reaching out to their parent and facilitating a meeting with their teacher. Now this is a little different from a regular parent-teacher conference, and though sometimes for, especially when we are working with our older students, there are students who receive special invitations to attend from teachers that they need to talk about some deficiencies, or there are parents who love to go to those conferences because their students are doing quite well, but there are a lot of students in between that just may not take advantage of those opportunities. And so Emporia, Kansas introduced this model to make sure that all students were able to discuss things that were relevant to their future. Now, of course, a parent-teacher conference, you do need to discuss your grades and how that relates to your career choices. So if you are interested in, of course, being an engineer, we do need to make sure that we are giving attention to the math and science courses and those things as well. And we need to look at these grades and see how we're performing so that we are available to, gain entrance into a university or a career tech center. So, so those questions, of course, do come up. But what we are doing when you do shift, you are putting the emphasis on the strengths and not the deficiencies, which was a really great model for Emporia. These are some of the effects of the changes here. So it changes, of course, the conversation from grades to college and career awareness and readiness. Changes the negative emphasis to positive future-oriented. The increased percentage of families attending these conferences went from 30% to over 80%, which is not surprising. Of course, we know that our parents do want to talk about this subject, that it is something that is on their mind, especially as our students start to get into late middle school, early high school, and beyond. So our plan. These are our next steps for you all, and I do want to mention this webinar is going to be archived, and it will be on our website for you all to review. So if you want to take this back to your team and talk about this in more detail, I encourage you all to do so. So just real quickly through the steps here. The first step here is to sign up for the 2018-2019 ICAP pilot study, and so this is a link here where you will fill this out. We must have permission from your superintendent for that we can continue. Of course, we want to make sure everybody in the district is on the same page as well. You will choose an online tool for your district. Some of you may already have one, and so you can view examples of both of the tools on a webinar that we have also added to our website, where you can compare both of the tools, where we had two of the tool experts talking about the features for both of them. You'll want to establish your core ICAP team, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Establish meetings with your school advisory team. Establish your intentional steps, and we do have documents for that planning process also available on our online, our website. And then, of course, we encourage you to connect with other pilot districts. Those that are participating in this particular year have made themselves available to answer any questions you have. So if there is a district that is close to you all, or you know someone in that particular district who's already going through the process, we encourage you all to reach out to them, because I think that they will be very helpful in the process, of course, as you are beginning this. Of course, connecting with your local Chamber of Commerce or your community partner should you not have a Chamber of Commerce. And then, of course, emailing any of us with any questions that you all have along the way. So here are some, real briefly, some common definitions that you will see and you will hear. We have several documents on our website that have these definitions, some of these acronyms also, so just in case you're looking at those and thinking you're not really quite sure what those are, we do have these definitions here. So your core team, each pilot site will assemble a core team, and that team can consist of a counselor, principal, assistant principal, parent representative, a student representative, business or community representative, career technology center counselor, classroom teacher, and special education teacher. This is just not really to create more work or anything. So if you already have an advisory that is close to this, and some of our sites already do, we encourage you all to add this to your agendas as well for your monthly meetings. But this is to make sure that ICAP is fluid throughout the entire district. It's very important that everybody is involved for this to be very successful. And this is something we have learned from some of our districts who are participating now, who have reached out to a few of their other pilot or their other advisories. A district representative. This district representative is an individual at the district level who participates in your ICAP meetings. This is to make sure that there is consistency throughout the district. We want to make sure that all of the sites, we understand, are not all going to be the same, but it is important to have a district representative available and keeping them up to date with the meetings and the activities that you all are doing so that there is consistency. That also brings up another point in choosing an online tool. I've had some questions about that. Yes, we do recommend that you do choose the same online tool throughout the entire district, so it makes it easier for students to be able to move up through sites who have already created a profile on that tool. So that's another point of having a district representative there to make sure that everyone is on the same page as well. Next is your ICAP designee. This is the person who would be the liaison between your district and your and the State Department, so ourselves as well. So this person may be someone who receives information concerning the entire district or concerning events and things like that that don't necessarily have to go to the sites. It may be things if they have questions about board policies or something like that, or work-based learning or things like that. That's the person that will be receiving that information. So, so be thinking about that as you're putting your teams together. Career clusters, pathways, and programs of study. I won't go through all of these, but we do have a form that really explains this in greater detail, and this is just very quickly explaining each of those. But these are terms that you are going to see quite often throughout the ICAP, so definitely want to familiarize yourself with those terms. Also, lastly, our college and career readiness definition here. That is our state definition, so definitely want to make sure that you guys had an opportunity to view that. These, real quickly, are our ICAP tools. Most of you all may be familiar with OK Career Guide and OK College Start. Wonderful tools, both of them who are free to all of us, and so we're very grateful to have these. We mentioned earlier that we received this grant to really start this work. We're actually one of 7 states who are the last states to begin this process. So one of the great things is to see what the other states have done before and have some examples. And so we're very fortunate, is what we've learned through going to national conferences, to have 2 free online tools, which a lot of states don't even have 1 free online tool. So we are very grateful to both OK Career Guide and OK College Start for them providing us with these materials. They have been very, very helpful throughout this process. Lastly is our online community platform. I won't pull this link up because I think we were having some problems with our browser here. But each of you, we have your contact emails for those of you who attended. So you are going to be receiving an email following this webinar, and it's going to have some instructions about and some more information really about the online community platform. But really what this is it's really a supportive tool to both of our online tools that I mentioned before. What this does is it allows students, parents, employers and community members and teachers to really engage with each other to start creating some career pathways that are relevant to their areas. So before, this tools I mentioned before, those are tools where students are really kind of taking ownership of their process. That's after they've learned really what I want to do. I've taken my assessments, maybe I've done a little bit of work-based learning, I've watched the interview videos, I've interviewed some professionals, you know, I've done those things, and now I'm ready to start putting together my ICAP plan. But before that, we know that you know, this ICAP process really needs to start in middle school. So we wanted to make sure that middle school and high school students had an opportunity to really explore the world of work, because there are just so many things that students and parents and educators just don't know. And so we made sure that we put together an online community platform where everyone could explore opportunities in our state of Oklahoma that are related to some of the top growing industries our states have to offer. And so we think that you'll be pleased and really excited after viewing this tool, so I can't wait to hear your feedback from this. So I will be sending an email, and it will come from Marissa Licey, sharing with you all the instructions a little bit more in detail about the tool and how you need to log on. And so if you have any questions about that, please feel free to respond right back to that email, and I am happy to give you a call or just shoot you an email answering any questions. So again, here are some supports and some resources. So here is a link here to our website. We also have a newsletter. This is for college and career readiness, so this information will be going out quarterly, just updating you on all resources that we found that are available, and of course some updates about ICAPs as well. We are in the process of designing a career advising toolkit. We have 9 counselors from the state of Oklahoma who are very excited and thrilled to be working on this and providing a resource to all of you. And so that will be coming soon. Of course, ourselves, myself, Marissa Lightsey, Chelsea Hunt, and Dr. Costa are available to answer any questions. I do have the contact email for both of the fabulous trainers, Erica Harris from OK Career Guide and Teresa Shackley from OK College Start. They are available if you all want to sign up and receive any training. If you have not done so already, I believe they have a calendar where you can sign up. Also, our social media pages, our website, of course, our Facebook and our Twitter. We encourage you all to follow those and like both pages just so that we can get some, share some information with you all, and you all can share information with us. And then, of course, lastly, that is our community platform, which you'll be receiving information about that shortly. We do have a couple of examples of some other ICAP studies, one from the Kansas State Department of Education and the other from Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. So we encourage you all to check those out as well as you start this planning process. They have lots of materials, especially evaluations and things such that I think will be very, very helpful. Here, of course, is our contact information, and again, I know I mentioned this will be added to our website for you all to take a look at. So if all of this is a lot of information, if you're not able to remember all this, and I completely understand, we will have this available on our website so you can get to it very quickly. Here are a couple of research resources that we have for you all also. We mentioned Colorado's ICAP, and then, of course, Wisconsin as well. And then, of course, the National Association for College Admission and Counseling. Very good resources as you all start to plan this process. And, of course, a couple of other resources also here. So while I stop here, I do want to pause for questions. You do have a dialog box that you are able to type in your questions. We have had to turn off the volume because there were so many on this webinar, but if you have any questions, now is the time to start using that dialog box, and I can answer those one at a time.
Okay, we can pull that up a couple of different ways, actually. Just me so far. Good.
So I have a question here. Can you elaborate on school district and participating school site boxes in the regular link? Can you further explain that? I'm sorry. The registration link. Site boxes, I'm sorry.
You know where it's at?
Can you tell us where that is? I'm sorry. Oh, so you're asking about the application to apply. Let's see here. I can see if I can go back. Oh.
Yeah, it's the Survey Monkey link.
Okay.
You can hit that
Okay.
if you want to see.
Thank you for sharing. Sure. So this is your application or your intent to join the survey. So can you tell me which questions you have? Six and seven. Let's see. Oops. Well, I can't really get to 6 and 7. I'm sorry. And I apologize, but I'm happy to answer an email if you can send me one. I'm sorry we can't go further in there without answering the questions, but thank you so much.
And I can send you their name.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
They're quiet.
Perfect.
Well, if there aren't any other questions, I understand there may be some that come up later on. If you can email any of us with any of your questions, we're happy to help you all. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to continuing this work.